Welcome back, everybody, to New Year's Day 1942 in the Wirraway versus Heclapar play-by-mail War of the Pacific Admirals Edition campaign. Should be an interesting turn. We've got some activity in China and throughout the Dutch East Indies. This happens to be reinforcements, primarily support troops and supply being offloaded at Palembang. You may have caught in the first moments of the video that there's some activity in the Aleutians. S-37 operating on the surface. This task force was finishing unloading. There's an ASW task force in the Hex, but no escorts with these ships. So I'm going to lose one. Oh, Durgeon in Kendari. And K-15 Samarang. Pretty solid hit on K-15. See if any more are coming. Doesn't look that way. More reinforcements landing. These will be AA units. When Palembang falls, want to make sure there's plenty of anti-aircraft units there. Stacking limits at Palembang aren't a real issue. Uh, in a stacking limit game like this one, you do have to carefully consider what you stuff into. Hmm. Looks like cruiser task force caught up with that lonely British destroyer. This will probably not end well for Tenedos. At 5,000 yards. She looks pretty much done for. Sub chaser trying to get a bead on S-37. jittery patrol pilots reporting tons of ships. There are ships on the south end of Java. But, wonder what those two are doing on the Java. Sweeps ahead of the bombers that hopefully, weather looks good, will strike his blocking position on the Ankang Road. Sweeps and long range cap over Palembang. Betty's hitting Palembang. Weather was good. Few enemy aircraft destroyed on the ground. Good hits on the airbase. More Bettys. And more Bettys. Sally's going after his units on the Ankang Road. 55 Corps, 77th, 59th. Lily's hitting the airfield at Manila. They are supported by long range cap, but because there's no enemy cap, it doesn't show up. They're not truly unescorted. More Sallies. Sonia's inhibiting some movements in the Yellow River Valley of Chinese units. Late sweep. Nope. Got too late. More Sallies coming in behind it. More interested in the disruption than disabled squads, but reports look decent. Some Oscars sweeping Palembang, but nothing there. I think the airfield's probably closed now, even for cap. Oh, pretty serious Dutch attack on my transports that are finishing offloading at Samarang. Even if they get through the light cap of Oscars, not much there for them. The ships certainly could be damaged or crippled, but Samarang's a decent sized port, unlikely to be sunk outright, and nothing on them of value anymore. This is a unit of Nate's recently converted to Oscar 1Cs, but it's under strength. Doing pretty good work though. Let's see what happens as the bombers do get through. The escorts get the bombers through. So far, the Dutch aren't having much luck. Most of his effective bombing attacks were done by wildebeest or swordfish or by patrol aircraft, PBYs, Dorners, etc. Falcons. Not sure I'd want to be in those Falcons, but they get under the cap. And some old export version of the B-10. And looks like they managed to hit nothing. Some more Falcons, but this time the cap's exhausted. Even then, didn't expect him to go after the shipping very hard there. It had been there for 2 or 3 days, unloading. And he hadn't gone after it, so it's like I use another transport. My recon. Looking mostly for the AVG in China. Keep tabs on it. And look for any sign he's moving fighters into Mindanao or something similar so he could try to jump my bombing runs in Manila, Clark, Tan. But I don't give him a lot to work with there. No consistent pattern, no milk runs to one target day after day. He could still catch me because I don't have very many fighters. All in the Philippines at the moment. Okay, deliberate attack on the Ankang Road. 2 divisions, 9 armor regiments, right at the stacking limit for that hex. He has one good core, though it's weakened to semi-useful units and one wreck. See how this goes. He is the 59th Corps. Started off with about 350 AV at the beginning of the campaign. 55th and 76th. 7th started off about 150 AV. Oh, nice. Very good. Right. Slaughter. That's very good. There's no way those units can get across the river before the armor catches him and does him in. The only unit right now that's on the other side of the river is a remnant of earlier fighting. So right now, the Ankang Road, at least the road to Ankang, it's almost undefended. It's not defended by any combat effective units that I know of at the moment. There may be one small war in reserve. Minor skirmishes with units that are essentially partisans. These two divisions are still trying to recover from their first assaults. They won't be able to break through the mountains here until such time as the enemy supplies are truly depleted. Fragment surrendered. He left it in move mode. He wanted it to surrender. Kuching single special naval landing force unit doesn't have enough combat power, probably without application of air support, significant air support, which right now is busy with Singapore and Palembang suppression. No real worries though. We'll take Kuching when we want to. Surabaha. We can take that as soon as we have aviation support engineers and AA units. Don't want to take it before then. I think oil is a painful process, though. The good news is with that attack against the shipping at Samarang, he's down to almost no fighters to escort or long range cap in support of his bombers. So any fighters we do have covering oil um, are likely to make a mess of his bombing attacks. Always night bombing though. See, I have 4 AA battalions now here. We'll attack the next turn with the armor units. Once they've recovered uh, a little more of their disabled tanks. Allies wasting supply, bombarding in the north. And again, mop-up operations continue in the Yellow River Valley. And paratroopers drop on a base next to Palembang that he's left undefended. I understand why he did, but it has a level of 2 airfield. Can be a useful location to provide long range cap at a range of 1 to bombers suppressing the airfield at Palembang instead of having to do it from carriers or bases much further away. We could try to counterattack against those paratroopers. We'll watch for that. We have recon overflying Palembang almost hourly, so if he begins moving that direction, we should know. It would be a tough decision to move units from Palembang, his main defensive position, uh, move them away from that, but could do it. Okay, well, let's check the illusions. So Unmac Island flipped. We'll build an airfield at Unmac Island. Our task forces will split and take Adak and Amchatka in the next 2 days. Right now, no sign of enemy activity here, but I only have Glen submarines searching. We'll have naval search soon, but right now, uh, this operation is pretty exposed. In China, I need to again recon further up the road. I've looked here over the last few days. There's actually one remnant unit here, another unit in Ankang, and then the units that are defeated. Right now, no sign that he's moving any of his other units. These two hexes are where he has most of his defenses. No sign he's trying to adjust at the moment. We have artillery, 2 more divisions coming, and I've got another corps here that I'm going to move as a second echelon. I own sides here, so these units can't interdict that movement. And Changsha still showing bombers and auxiliaries. Chungking, 60 fighters. Guessing that's 2 squadrons of the AVG. We're moving on Wuchao, continuing our development operations around Changsha, continuing our movement towards Clark, towards Cabanatuan. We have about a division on this axis of advance, about a division strength on this axis of advance, and a division coming from the south. No sign of fighters here. We'll take a look at Cagayan and Malabele tomorrow. Task force didn't unload. Let's check one. That's why. They arrived just at the end of the turn. It's a little risky. They don't have any surface assets that can threaten the light cruiser and 3 destroyers escorting here. Got units take Makassar. So Jakarta tank regiment can take that this turn. Yep, looks like motor torpedo boats. I'm not sure what they're doing that far from home. 160 nautical miles from the nearest port. They will likely not survive. I'll send some destroyers just to run them down. These task forces are going to make a run through the Sunda Strait. Their reinforcements for Cocos Island will reinforce Fraba o Molit or Morli, I guess. not sure the pronunciation, and be able to do some long range cap here. Airfield damage is showing 29. I think that's a little low. I suspect it's higher than that. Nothing. He's moved his units from Osthaven. We actually have 2 regiments of paratroopers within range. We'll drop on Osthaven 2. My guess is the unit from Osthaven is somewhere along this railroad network, but we can still push supplies into Osthaven and they will flow to Prab Moli. Just not necessarily rapidly if he's sitting on this road rail line. We'll see if we can clear them. Otherwise, supplies will probably only get from Osthaven once we take it and supply it to this space by transport aircraft and every few days based on the calculated supply path. It's still better than trying to supply this by transport aircraft. Other option, I suppose, is to drop on Bankel and ship supplies around the backside. Rather not do that. Option. Okay, let's just check what's going on with our forces. Divisions cross into Singapore on the 2nd. Take a look. Burma. Guards, Imperial Guards Division is 2 days away from a river crossing. He doesn't, I didn't recon it this turn, but he doesn't have much in Rangoon at all. So we'll take Rangoon, cut the Burma road supplies to China, which is always a good thing, along with grabbing Wuchao next turn, and grabbing Guangchuan with a fast transport task force. So again, pulling away at his supply capability. But of course, it's getting Chengtu. That's the prize for breaking through the Ankang Road and into the Chungking Plain before taking Chungking itself. Xi'an is relatively small potatoes by comparison. Langchao and Xi'an together don't have the supply production capability of Chengdu, let alone Chungking. So we're going to focus on breaking out into the Chungking Plain as quickly as possible and grabbing Chengdu before laying siege to Chungking, and will generally leave the Xi'an Langchao corridor to atrophy. Check on the KB. Still just turn outside a truck. Our deception invasion task force headed some island is where it should be. Baker Island invasion forces loading. We're probably a week still from kicking off our operations in Senpak to try to draw his attention before the real movement towards Papua New Guinea, Solomons, and then on to the New Hebrides and New Caledonia. And the deception in Senpak may not work, understood, but it seems like it's worth the effort to try to at least offer him some lack of clarity as to where our intentions are or where our intentions lie. Seems carry where the ABT is, but we don't know where his carriers are. Could be in Perth, could be out in the Indian Ocean outside of our air search range, which covers a good bit of this area. Potentially they're further north off Sumatra. I suspect, though, Sydney, Brisbane, but that's just a guess. Anyway, thanks so much for joining me. Now, before I look at the scores here, aircraft losses, I think terribly exciting today. 12 Allied, 5 Japanese. Looks like I lost a couple Bettys to Ops. Mavis, one of my Mavis transports in the zeroed op. We lost just some Buffaloes. Escorts. Continues to lose some transports. I think it's transfer here at Galjati, flying to Palembang. I believe it's what they're doing. 22 auxiliaries showing up with recon there. Anyway, critical moment. Like to do something about that base. We'll do something about that base. Moving on today. Tornadoes. You can see these transports, most of them were damaged by his base force. 3-inch guns in Palembang. Great losses as they're reported. No mines reported. I generally mined all my forward bases as soon as I can. Don't have mines at Samarang, don't have mines at Kandari yet where he's operating. But I haven't gotten much success from mining my forward ports where his submarines have been operating, but it's still a important strategy or tactic. Anyway, now I'll sign off. Look forward to our next chance to talk.